Hello and welcome to the Ripple Effect. I am Selena. So today's topic is about living in yesterday or yesteryear, yestermonth, for some ladies, yesterdecade. Okay? There will come a time, as all human beings, where we may miss what once was. And if I'm speaking specifically about a relationship, and if you weren't the one who chose for the relationship to break up, sometimes you might really miss what once was. And we have to be able to move past living in what we once had at a particular time. It may be hard to, one, listen to this video, but two, to accept that it is over and you have to move on. You have to be able to progress past what once was. And even if it's not necessarily a relationship, if it can be, I used to work at a particular job or whatever, but the jobs that I had, thank God, I was ready to get out of there. Whew, especially when I was a manager at McDonald's. I could not get out of there quick enough. Praise the Lord. But if it's a relationship and you're struggling and you're still ruminating over what once was and you want to go back and you want to have the good times, as they would say, I want to encourage you to pray about it. I once seen a quote that said, "Do not return to what you had to pray to God to get out of." And when my relationship ended with my ex, there was a waiting period while the divorce was in process, because we were separated before the divorce. And I don't know, he was very adamant on trying to rekindle the relationship during the separation. And your mind will bring up the good times. Because understand this, let me give you a little science. The brain, the mind is there to protect you. So it won't give you all the traumatic memories and have you just in a world of craziness. That's not how the mind operates. It gives you a image of what is safe, what is there to protect you. That's why when people go through traumatic events, they will repress the memory. So the mind does not remember it because it needs to operate in a place of safety. So when you have gone through something that can be traumatic in a relationship, your mind will push to the forefront the good times, the good memories. Why? Because it doesn't want to be shaken all up with all the bad things that's happened. And I know for me, it was just, I had to look past the good times, what they once were. I had to live in the reality of who this person was, the traumatic things that they did, the things that were negative to the marriage. And I could not live in what I had once upon a time. I had to understand what I have right now and what I wanted in the future. Some of us get stuck in this place where we'll just think about what once was, and we may feel like there is no future without this person. Like, I know this particular lady, and she's been in this relationship for a long time, and she has wrapped her whole life in this relationship. And the relationship is toxic from top to bottom, from east to west, north to south, due east, whatever, all the way around 360. It is just toxic. And both parties are not choosing to walk away from the relationship. And I have to pray for this individual because I know nothing good will come from it. Because when you're operating in toxicity, nothing good can come from it. The Bible is very clear when he says, God is not mocked. Whatever you reap, you will sow. If you plant an apple seed, tangerines will not grow. Apples will. So if you're operating in toxicity, you cannot expect something good to come from it. So when we have been blessed to come out of something that God has had to bring us through, we cannot go back and wish that that is where we want to be, especially if it's something bad. Now, if it's something good, that can be a topic from another video. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about if you have been brought out of something that was negative and you're still desiring because you think Well, it wasn't all bad. And, would you drink a cup of water with a little bit of arsenic? Just laced with just a little bit. Or that ethylene glycol, if it was just a little bit of that in there, would you have that in your beverage? The answer would be no, because just on the chance that that dosage might be off, you might wake up dead. So why would we want to operate in something that is negative for us? And I encourage us to be able to do the work and grow from it. And for me, it was very hard. It was very hard to push past what once was, and also what I thought it could have been. I think that might have been the harder aspect of it, because in my mind I had pictured the relationship going this way, children in the future, and the empire we could build, and all these other things. But in my reality, it was something very, very different. And so sometimes it may not necessarily be us thinking about what once was. We think about what we could have had. If this person didn't end the relationship, or if we ended the relationship, we think about what it could have been. And for us, we have to be able to submit those things to God, to submit, okay, God, this is what I'm going through. And my relationship with Jesus Christ is very honest. I can't lie to you. How could I when you know everything? So I don't like it. I don't know what's going on. These are the things that I thought there was, and I pray for healing during this situation, during these times, to pray for healing so that I could get to a place where it no longer stings, so to speak, for lack of a better word, where I can be able to look back and be like, you know what, that was such a learning experience. And I tell you all the time, like, nothing in the curriculum of an Ivy League college could have taught me what I learned in my last relationship. Like, nothing. It just there was nothing that it could have taught me, because I learned so much about not only who I was, but who God was and what he wanted for me. And that was the most important takeaway, that I was able to deepen my relationship with God, because I don't know if it could have been something else. We don't get to choose to see what our lives would have been like if we made a different decision. But for me, I don't know how I would have obtained the information another way, because I went through this situation and it helped deepen my relationship with God, and it was necessary for me, and it gave me a purpose. That's why I'm here now. That's why I'm beating this drum of being an advocate for being happy in your singleness, and being an advocate for those who are single mothers, and for mental health and self-love, all these things that I don't think I would have necessarily cared about. I would have cared about, but probably not really, because at the time beforehand, I told you guys I was studying to be a nurse, and I think I did anyway. But I knew that wasn't the calling for me. I'll probably go into detail in another video about that, but it just wasn't the calling that God had for my life. And now that I see that what it is, I'm very grateful for it, and very appreciative to be able to share my story and my testimony to help lead someone closer to Christ. So as always, ladies, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to join the OAC Nation and become an overcomer and confident.